Welcome to Inside Drug Discovery. This video covers a drug that was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. That drug is Brinsupri. This video focuses more on the medicinal chemistry properties of the drug rather than effects in patients. Brinsupri was approved on August 12, 2025. Brinsupri is approved for the treatment of non-cystic fibrosis bronchiectasis in patients of at least 12 years of age. The active pharmaceutical ingredient in Brinsupri is brensocatib. The drug is administered orally once per day with a 10 or 25 milligram dose. The sponsor for the NDA is Insmed. The prescribing information insert of Brinsupri can be found through the link at the bottom of the slide, and the link is also in the video description. The prescribing information is the primary reference for this video. Let's start with non-cystic fibrosis bronchiectasis, NCFB. This condition involves chronic inflammation of the airways in the lung. Cystic fibrosis is also characterized by lung inflammation, but the causes are very different between the two conditions. In NCFB, the airways are especially wide and can entrap debris and bacteria. The main symptoms of NCFB are a persistent cough and increased risk of lung infections. NCFB patients have very few treatment options, which include medical devices that can clear the airways, antibiotics, and avoiding environments that include lung irritants. These treatments are often not satisfactory, and NCFB represents an unmet medical need. Enter brensocatib, which is the API in Brinsupri. The target for brensocatib is dipeptidyl peptidase 1, DPP1, or sometimes called cathepsin C or even CAT-C. DPP1 should not be confused with DPP4, which is more often a target for treating diabetes. Brensocatib acts as an inhibitor of DPP1 with an IC50 of 4 nanomolar, according to IUPhar's Guide to Pharmacology. Through inhibition of DPP1, brensocatib reduces inflammation that arises from the protease activity of DPP1. Here we have some of the physicochemical properties of brensocatib as determined by the site SwissAdme. It is perhaps no surprise that brensocatib, an orally administered drug, does have physicochemical properties that are consistent with the compound occupying expected oral drug space. Before we leave the structure of brensocatib, I'll make two comments. One, brensocatib is formulated in Brinsupri as its hydrate. The hydrate has a molecular weight of 420 grams per mole plus water, or 438 grams per mole. Second, take a look at this cyano group in the structure. There are drugs, safe and effective drugs, that contain a cyano group without any concern. This particular cyano group, however, is in a position to be lost through hydrolysis because of the proximity of this amide nitrogen. So the nitrogen lone pair can help eject cyanide. Even at the highest dose, 25 milligrams, complete loss of cyanide from this drug would only be around 1.5 milligrams of cyanide. 1.5 milligrams of cyanide is not an unsafe level of exposure, but I do want to highlight that brensocatib structure can potentially release cyanide in a chemically reasonable manner. I mentioned cyanide on this slide because it's going to pop up again on another slide. Moving on to the PK properties, the half-life of brensocatib is 25 to 39 hours. Quite long for a small molecule drug. The oral bioavailability has not been reported, but we will see evidence that it is well absorbed on the next slide. Brensocatib is metabolized by various cytochrome enzymes. The major circulating metabolite based on a radiolabeled drug dose is thiocyanate. Thiocyanate is a known metabolite of cyanide and provides evidence that cyanide is indeed liberated in vivo from brensocatib. Brensocatib is mostly excreted in the urine. Note that the small amount of unchanged drug observed in the feces supports the probable high oral absorption of the drug. Safety warnings for Brinsupri include possible dermatological and dental adverse reactions, as well as potential risks associated with the concomitant use of Brinsupri and live attenuated vaccines. I'm not familiar with this type of risk. If you understand this sort of interaction, please share your thoughts in the comments. Adverse reactions observed in at least 2% of treated patients include respiratory tract infections, headache, rash, dry skin, hyperkeratosis, and hypertension. We are now at the end of this summary of the approval of the new drug application of Brinsupri, which was granted by the U.S. FDA on August 12th of 2025. Brinsupri contains brensocatib and is approved for the treatment of non-cystic fibrosis bronchiectasis. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Take care.